Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Tiffany C. Harris podcast. I am here today solo dolo. And first, let me say happy MLK Day. I was able to attend a wonderful and actually perform or minister at a MLK celebration on yesterday. It was such a blessing. So I hope you were able to get out today and connect with those in your community celebrating this day off as opposed to just Netflixing and chilling. Anyway, today's topic, I'm finally going to be able to talk to you. We've talked about faith, we've talked about family, and so today we're going to talk about that third F. We're going to talk about my food. I have a long history with carb addiction, and I think it was getting pregnant with my first child. I gained 40 pounds during that pregnancy and have never lost that 40 pounds. Ever since then, every subsequent pregnancy, I continued to gain. When I had my second child, I gained probably another 40 pounds. And I ended up doing the Atkins diet, and I was able to lose 45 pounds in 5 months. I looked great. I felt amazing, but I didn't really know a lot about nutrition. And so my thought was, okay, I've taken this weight off. I'm now like the size of healthy people. I was at 145. I'm the size of healthy people, so I can eat like everybody else. And quickly found out that that was the biggest lie that I knew up until that point. Because when I started to go beyond that 20 to 25 grams of carbs a day, I ballooned. I gained that back and additional weight. And so I've really been on a merry-go-round of different weight loss approaches since that time. During that, I did begin with physical fitness and learning a lot about that, and realized I actually liked exercising. Not that I hadn't exercised before, because I was an athlete throughout school. From 5th grade on, I played basketball, I ran track. So working out was not something that was new to me. I just hadn't taken the time in my adult life to prioritize physical fitness. And so in the midst of all these dieting cycles, I was exercising. And I'd lose and then I'd gain. I'd do something really restrictive, and those were the ones that drew me in even more. So the extreme diets, the lemonade diet, the cabbage soup diet, I've done Weight Watchers countless times. I was vegan for about 2 years. I was vegetarian for about 3 years. I switched from that to pescatarian. And during that time, I was a fitness coach with a well-known brand, and lost a lot of weight. But I never got down to where I wanted to be. And at that time, my mindset was also really focused on the number on the scale. That was a huge barrier for me to get past. It was like, if I don't get to this number, I'm not being successful. When what I really have come to realize is that I've done it, I've achieved it, but because I didn't feel like I was continuing to lose and I didn't get to that number, I continued to seek out an extremely unhealthy end result. And it's been through my successes and my failures that I've come to understand that, one, it's not about the number on the scale, that it's about my overall health, the ability to move my body freely. And I've adopted a mindset of being intentional about movement. And so sometimes that may be a walk with my family. Other times it may be, going out to play with my kids. But now I'm at a place where I have grandchildren, And I really want to model a healthy life. And I know that it's not one size fits all. Now, I didn't know that then. I felt like if you follow this plan and you lost this much weight, then I should be able to achieve that. And so it was a long time getting to a place where I understood that that was not my truth, and that a certain way of eating may have worked really well for someone else, even if they were my same body composition, height, and all that stuff. It still may not be good for my particular body. And so I've learned to look at myself as fearfully and wonderfully made, as well as unique, and it's been a prayerful thing that's finally, I won't say thing, a prayerful experience for me to continue to ask God to seek out, wise counsel in this area of my life. And it was probably 2 years ago I came to the point where I realized, God, I've gone to you with everything. I've trusted you with my family. I trust you with my finances. I trust you with my life. But I've always felt like I got this. I can handle this on my own. And that just was not the truth, because the times when I would hit plateaus, or the times when I would overdo it, because I am very competitive. And there have been times when I would do way too much. And because I have injuries, I'd be out of commission for 3 days, 4 days, 5 days at a time. And because I'm the type of person that is like, I have an all-in approach to life. So it's like, if I'm dieting, which I don't do that anymore. If I'm dieting, then I need to be going hard in the paint with my workouts. When wisdom tells me there may be a season, like now, that I need to just be stretching and walking, and it can be as effective for my body in this season, more effective for my body in this season than it would be for me to be lifting heavy weights, which I really enjoy, or doing HIIT workouts, which I mostly enjoy. It can be more effective in the season. So getting to a place where I'm listening to my spirit within, but I'm also listening to my body. And so currently I've shared with you all through my shorts that my church has been doing a 21-day fast. And I believe in, when your spiritual leader calls a fast, it is for the entire body, not just for the leadership. So it was a 21-day fast. And as it was approaching, I was in prayer because I felt like God was calling me to do more than what they were doing. So they're avoiding, carbs, highly refined sugars, period, sodas, all these things that I had been having, regularly. And so as I prayed, I was watching YouTube one day and I found this channel, and this person was talking about a water fast. And I fasted before in previous churches with the collective, but also individually. But in recent years, the most length of time that I've fasted has been like if we were doing a 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. type fast. Last year when we did the fast, I did only real foods. But this year I felt like God was calling me deeper. And that's one of the things we're really focusing in within my spiritual family right now. And so I was led to water fasting. So I was reading everything I could, watching all the videos that I could of people that were doing it. Most of them were doing it for a physical reason. I was doing it for a spiritual reason more so, but in laying everything at the feet of Jesus and putting those things that I struggle with before him, I also was looking for a physical outcome, a physical result. I'm sorry, y'all. My mouth is really dry. Hold on just a second. So this is one of the waters I've been drinking during my fast. It's a power water. and which is basically an electrolyte water. I chose this one because it was lower in carbohydrates than any of the others that I looked at, and it had no added sugar to it. So that's one that I've been using. But when I started the fast, I was doing just straight water, and it wasn't until 3 or 4 days in, water, and I had a salt rock. And so I would lick the salt, and that would help, because initially I had, cramping and discomfort in my body, and the water alone was not working. So I added the salt first. And so probably day 4, day 5, I was reading about electrolytes, and the ones that I had used before, I didn't have any, so I had to go to the store. So I used what I was able to find. You may have a better way of getting your electrolytes in. I didn't. And so this is, the choice that I made, and it really helped. It made a big difference. My goal initially was 21 days. As I continued to pray, I was led to do it 14 days. And then I got to like day 9. Let me back up. In the beginning, detox symptoms, headache, fatigue, and that. So I rested a lot. Rest is so important to our bodies. And because we live in a society and a culture that pushes, team no sleep, I would never be a part of that. Team no sleep. I love my sleep. The Bible tells me that God will give me sweet rest, and I thank Him for it. And through this process, in the first few days of the fast, I slept a lot. Part of it was going to sleep just because I was hungry, and it was more than I felt like I could handle. And so my spirit said rest, and I did. And I got to day 5, I think, and day 5 and 6, my energy was up. I felt great. Mental clarity. At that point, my joint pain that I was dealing with every day was resolved. I hadn't had any migraines. When before this fast, I hadn't had migraines for a while, and they had started coming back with a vengeance. And so I don't know if you're a migraine sufferer. If you are, you know what that's like. But I would have migraines days on end and just be no good. I have not only the sensitivity to light, but I had started having aura again with those, which I hadn't had in recent years, and really bad nausea. And so through this fast, those have dissipated, praise God. But then I got to like day 8 or 9, and I was just my energy was low. I can't even say I was tired, because it wasn't like I was sleepy, but I just struggled even to get myself up from a seated position, lying down, whatever. And then I also had really bad nausea. That salt rock was amazing. It helped me to go beyond the nausea. If you know, you know. If you don't worry about it. But on day 11, I was miserable. And it had been, like I said, like 4 days of misery. And I was trying really hard to push through to get those next couple of days and finish. But I felt within me like this is not wise for you to continue, because it's not like it was in the early days where it was just part of my body acclimating to the change. I was well into the fast. And so it was probably about 7:30 that night, I decided I was going to break my fast. And so I broke the fast with a cup of broth, and that was, hand to God, I felt like life was coming back into my body. I felt like, because if you fasted any amount of time beyond 7 days, you know that you feel this emptiness inside. It's like there's just nothing in there. Like apparently I don't have any organs or anything, because I feel like I'm just a shell at this point. So drinking the broth made me feel like, like Jesus was breathing life back into me. And so that night I had a really light meal, because I had done a lot of reading that said to be sure that you ease into it. And there's a lot of mixed messages out there when it comes to how long you should refeed before going into real food again. And so I decided to go with the one that said half the time of your fast, you need to be refeeding. So I've been drinking a cup of broth every day pre-meal. And for me, it's kind of like, I'm going to drink this broth to let my body know, hey, I'm about to give you some food, you know? So I drink the broth, and it'd be 30 to 45 minutes before I would eat. And the meals have been really small, but I've been getting full. And I realized I don't necessarily like how full feels. I'd rather just feel satiated, as opposed to full. Like, say, you know, your stomach 100%, you know, makeup. I want to figure out how to get to 75%, almost to that full feeling, but not quite there. And so that's what I've been working on. Today is actually my 5th day of refeed. And so tomorrow I'm really excited because I'm going to be starting into something new for me. But during the time of the fast, there was some decisions that I was able to make as I prayed through and listened to God. And so some of those are, I was able to break my sugar addiction, because even though the way of eating that I eat, I don't eat carbs. Really. I mean, on occasion I would have veggies or fruit, but that's not part of my daily, meal plan. And so, but I used to drink coffee every morning. And even though I had 0 calorie, 0 coffee syrups and stevia to sweeten it, I also had like a 0 whipped cream that I would use. It really was an indulgence for me. And so I'd start my day with those. And sometimes toward the end of the day, if I wasn't really hungry, instead of eating, I would drink a cup of coffee. But it felt like before starting this fast that it had gotten to be kind of like a crutch for me, because it was giving me the sweet taste. But then I noticed when my daughter, who's a baker, would make things, smelling those sweet goods would make me want, to have it. And so during this fast, I've been able to, that's not even a thing anymore. I'm not tempted by my husband's candy, my daughter's baked goods, none of that. And so I'm really thankful to God. And another big thing that I feel like was a hindrance to me was 0 sugar sodas, or 0 sodas. I didn't really do the dark ones, but like 0 Sprite, 0 ginger ale, I kept on hand. If you came in, I have a beverage rack in my refrigerator, and it will be full all the time. And even though I would allow myself to only have like 1 of those a day, it was more than what I feel like I need to be doing for my goals, and also just breaking that addiction. And so I was able to do that during the fast. And so now I have a thirst for water, and only water. And the only other thing I've been having, like I said, is the broth, and I plan to keep it that way. But getting back to what I'm starting tomorrow. So today is the final day of my refeed, which I'm really excited about it. I think I'm just gonna do eggs and sausage and keep it really, really simple. I've also cut cheese out of my repertoire, because cheese dip, I love it. Shredded cheese on everything. Shredded cheese on my eggs. If I have a salad, it's got shredded cheese in it. One of the little snacks I would make for myself is like baked cheese with pepperoni. It tastes amazing. It's a great, combination of fat and protein if you can do it. But I feel like I had gotten to a point where it was too often. So I'm just cutting it, at least for now. Am I saying I'm never going to eat cheese again? No, because I love me a nice smoked Gouda or Havarti or whatever. And so there may be a time and an occasion where maybe I'm at a social event and there is a cheese tray, and I may have that, but it will not be an ongoing part of my way of eating. So starting tomorrow, I'm starting something called Rolling 72s. If you're unfamiliar with it, type it into the search engine on YouTube, and 1,000,001 things are going to come up. And these people are getting results. And so it's really recommended for people that have a significant amount of weight to lose, which I do. Although during my fast, I lost 24 pounds, and that is amazing during the 11 days. And I feel really good in my body. There's still more weight that I need to take off because this muffin top is not giving me life. And I just want to get to the best version of myself as I possibly can. And so rolling 72s are where there's a 3-day window that you're not eating. And so coming off this 11-day of water fasting, 3 days feels like cake to me right now. I'm already prepared. I already have my water, my electrolyte water, and my salt rock. I can easily do 72 hours. So the idea of a rolling 72 is you fast the 72 hours. Then on that 4th day, you would eat. And then the following 3 days, you go right back into that 72-hour fast. And this is a way for me to get the weight off, but also a way for me to continue to allow the internal healing that has begun in my body, the cell regeneration, the autophagy that I've attained to continue to go on. And so the plan that I'll be following during that is the carnivore diet. And I hate to say diet, but it's a carnivore way of eating. And for me, it's become a lifestyle over the last couple years. So the carnivore diet, what is that? Carnivore is just like it sounds. If it is an animal, comes from an animal, you can have it. If it's not, it ain't on your plan. And so for me, having simple, clear instructions like that, I've done all the things through all those previous things where I'm typing in, checking my macros and typing in, and keeping count of my calories or keeping count of my carbs or whatever. And tracking in that way does not work for me. So when I have something like, if it's a piece of meat or seafood, I can have it. If it comes from an animal, if it's butter, if it's eggs, cheese, I can have. But like I said, for myself, I realized that I tend to overindulge in those. And so I'm just going straight for eggs and meat. There are several people out there that are carnivores that fast. One of the biggest things I got during this fast is that fasting needs to become an integral part of my life, not just for the physical aspect, which I know is going to happen, but also spiritually. I feel like when your mind is clear and it's not overcompensating by all these other thoughts of what am I going to prepare for my family or myself today? Going to the grocery store, going shopping for those things, coming home and preparing those things. Like carnivore meals tend to be really quick to fix. You don't have to have a whole lot of forethought. It's like if I buy it, I'm gonna thaw it, and that's what I'm having. So it works for me. I know in following this plan, I've been able to use fuel. I've been able to fuel my body instead of stuff it. You know what I mean? I don't want to take in anything that is not meeting the nutrients, everything that my body needs in order to heal itself, in order to get to an optimal place of operating. It's really simple for me. I love it. The carnivore community can be very supportive, but then there are also a lot of really judgy people. Like with me having coffee, it's like, coffee is a seed. It's not, carnivore. But it's like, hey, how can I live my life in a way that it works for me? And so my reasoning beforehand, or the choice that I made for myself, was if coffee allows me to stay sane in my life and not lose my mind and go off on a binge, then I'm going to have coffee, because who going to check me, boo? You know what I'm saying? So carnivore is the choice that I've made. I'll be sharing more of that as we go forward, as I'm preparing meals and things. I will share those with you. If you have any questions about the carnivore diet, I've been familiar with it since 2020. I did it with great success at a point in 2020, but then I went through a period where my grief wave just hit really high, and I went back to the familiar of eating a sad diet. And for those of you that don't know, that's the standard American diet. It's sad, y'all. And so I've kind of been on a cycle with that. Last year I tried more carnivore-ish / ketovore, which is mainly a keto way of eating with a emphasis on carnivore. So mostly carnivore, but occasionally I would have salads or, sauteed veggies, something like that. But this year I feel like I need to just keep it tight. And so being able to go from water only to this, I feel like should be cake, because I enjoy the food that I'm eating. I enjoy meat. And there's so much science behind it. Some channels that you can check out are Dr. Ken Berry, Dr. Berg, Nisha loves it. Nisha is the wife of Dr. Berry, and she's a nurse. There's so much information. Kelly Hogan, Thomas DeLauer, all these people are big names in carnivore, keto, way of eating. And they've been doing it for a while. Like Kelly Hogan has been carnivore for 13 years. People say you can't eat just meat and butter and be healthy, but they've shown that their numbers, metabolic numbers, have improved significantly since following this way of eating. There's so many people in this community that have been able to reverse detrimental diseases that they were facing. A lot of people that were diabetic that are no longer. Those that have had IBS, Crohn's disease, CPOS, like you name it. Folks like me with migraines, joint pain, it improves on this diet. And so I'm not calling it a diet for myself. But if you search it, that's how it's going to come up. But it's just what has worked for me. Patient of one, patient zero. Carnivore is it for me. My son and I have done it together for a while. He said, Mama, like strict carnivore isn't it for me. I feel like I need to have veggies and I need to have fruit. And so that's what he's doing for himself. So I say, figure out what's going to work for you, and don't listen to all these experts out here that tell you that what you're doing is unhealthy. If you can see the results in your body, in how you feel mentally, physically, emotionally, and all of that, then turn them off. Like, you got your dialer, turn it down. You can hear that and not hear it, but do what it is that you know that you need to do for you. And I look forward to sharing my journey with you guys. And like I said, if you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. If you are carnivore or have tried it, share that with me in the comments. If you haven't as of yet, hit that subscribe button, turn the bell on for post notifications so that you don't miss a single thing that's coming. And drop me a comment, and please share the page. We're growing slowly and consistently, and I'm just looking for my tribe. And if you feel like you found yours, join me here. We're in it together. Thank you guys so much for watching the Tiffany C. Harris podcast, and I'll see you next week.